Eko, eko ngā manu I roto I te mārā tāne, kia hiki ai tātā kura kia whiti ake ai te rā, hui e taiki e. O kia ora mai tātou, ko Puoro Jerome tēnei, my name's Puoro Jerome, and today I come to you from this beautiful ngahere, kei te awa Wanganui, so I'm in the ngahere here, right by our awa tupua Wanganui. So nera te mihi atu kia koutou, and thanks for joining in again and listening to our series around Taonga Puoro. Today we're going to be looking at and talking briefly about Koauau. Koauau, so there's a beautiful pūrākau around Maui and Irawaru. Well, it's quite a mysterious pūrākau, or intriguing I should say. So tētahi kōrero, whānau ki te pūrākau, is Irawaru was married to the sister of Maui, and her name's Hanori. And in this kōrero, Maui and Irawaru went out fishing, and in the kōrero, Irawaru had fashioned this different type of fish hook. He was a very industrious and very creative pane, and he had created this awesome as fish hook, and because of that he was catching more fish than Maui was. And Maui started to get a little bit hoha with him, and as Irawaru caught more fish, Maui's hoha turned into riri, and a bit of pūhai I'd say, yeah. So he was a little bit fed up with him. So anyway, they had finished their day's fishing, and off they went back to return to home and back to their whānau. And as they were approaching the shore, Maui had a bit of a idea up his sleeve, and that was to sort of, get back at Irawaru. And as they came onto the beach, and the waka came up, Maui asked Irawaru to jump out and to pull the waka in. And as Irawaru was doing this, Maui rocked the boat, and as a result the waka squashed on top of Irawaru, and Irawaru was flattened out, and in this pūrākau, because of that, his back flattened out, and he was squashed, and his form changed from a tangata into a kuri. So Irawaru was no longer a man but a kuri, and so there was Maui with all this fish on the waka, and there was Irawaru who had been squashed into the shape of a kuri. Now Hanori came down and to welcome her brother and her husband back from their fishing expedition, and of course she looked for her husband and couldn't find him, so she asked Maui, kai hia taku hoa rangatira o Irawaru, and Maui said to call out the words moi moi, moi moi, moi moi, and your husband will come. And as she said these words, moi moi, moi moi, up came this kuri, and was realised then that Maui had done something, and of course Hanori was very angry at this, that Maui had turned her brother into this kuri. And the calling out of the moi moi is also in relation to another variation of the pūrākau, or connection anyway, and that's to the mara and to those to our riwai Māori, and some of those types of riwai are called moi moi. And so in some kōrero there's talk of Māori being changing the irawaru into a kuri out fishing in a waka, and the other kōrero is this happened in the Mara. Anyway, regardless of that, irawaru was now a kuri. Now Hanauri of course was very angry and not happy at all about what had happened to her husband in the mahi of Maui, in the things that he had done. Later on in the pūrākau, irawaru actually passes away, and so Maui takes the front leg bone of irawaru and changes that into a koauau, and he gives that back to his sister Hinauri. And that's one pūrākau around Koauau. So our tūpuna had Koauau kuri. They would make the koauau from the leg bone of their pet, their mokai, their pet dogs, or kuri. I myself have made one of those with our pet dog a long time ago, and they're very beautiful koauau. Other types of koauau, of course, are the wing bone of the pareho of a lot of our manu, particularly from the sea, the really big ones, and the most well-known one is the toro. So I've actually got one here with me. This one's the wing bone of a toro, and I'm just going to play it for a few minutes here for us. And coming back to the healing practices of Taonga Puoro, when you're listening to this waiata coming from my koauau toroa, you can just again breathe that beautiful sound through your pito. So it's really focusing to breathe in the sound through your pito, up through your nākau, pūmanawa, up through the whatu manawa, and then out through your pūmotomoto. So again, when we're doing this, we're connecting through the pito to the whenua, through our mums, and through our first mum, which is Papatuanuku, and then we're going to be breathing that sound up through the pito in connection with Papatuanuku, bringing that right up through the kaiwaina nea tātou, through the middle part of our body, and up through the heart space, and then up through the whatu manawa, and then up and out through the pūmotomoto and back to rangi nui. So it's a very simple, practical way to utilise the sound of the puoro and the breath, our breath, through ourselves, and to reconnect us. So you're just breathing in and then breathing out, and breathing in that sound. That's the main kind of kaupapa. So ane te tangi o te koauau toroa. So ka breathing in through the pito, and ka ha out through your waha, through the pūmotomoto. And again, the pūmotomoto is the fontanel at the top of our head, the whatu manawa is right in between our eyebrows there. And manawa the pū manawa space is our heart, the nākau, the tangata, and then the pito is the belly button part there. So here we go, ka u, breathing in through the pito. And ka ha, breathing out through our waha, but then pushing it out through the pū moto moto atu rangi nui. Ka ha. Ka u, inhale. And ka ha, exhale through the mouth, but focusing on that, connecting out to rangi nui. So that's my koauau tōroa, and as I mentioned in other episodes, when you come into spaces like the ngahere, I guess our minds are so overactive a lot of the time in these days, and so what we can do is really focus that attention onto these beautiful sounds of the waunui a tāne, and again we can hear ngā manu o rehua, our cicadas, the children of rehua, and we can hear those beautiful rhythms. I can hear some of the manu, the hihi, the tieke in here. And we can do the same, we can breathe that in through our pito, those beautiful sounds of the taiao, of our atua. And then breathing out through the pū moto moto and connecting up to rangi nui. So it's a very simple, powerful practice, and this helps us with our haura, with our mental health, our well-being. If we're ever feeling stressed, then, whakauki ki te ngahere, return to your ngahere and just sit in there and absorb those beautiful sounds. So we might try that again, ka u, and ka ha. And I like to think about when I'm breathing out through my mouth, and at the same time that's pushing this ara, or this connection going up to rangi nui. When I'm breathing out, it's connecting up to there. When I'm breathing in, I'm connecting to papatua nuku. Oh, tēnā koutou. This other koauau I'd like to share with you is one that was gifted to me from my grandmother. And this was actually my koro. He would go out and get all the wood for the winter. And he'll chop it up and bring it back for my nan and stack it up and all that, and often we'd be helping them. And then in the winter time, my nanny would come out and she would chop up the, kindling and all that stuff. And so she gave me this piece of rākau when I first started to mahi with our puoro, and she said, "Here, make you a koauau with this one. This rākau." This is when I first started making koauau. Yeah, so a lot of our koauau are also made out of rākau, and you can use any types of rākau. Of course, I like sort of sticking to our native ones. In my area, we make the koauau from the tutu. Some people call that tūpākihi. That was my great-grandfather's name, tūpākihi potaka. And yes, I like making my koauau out of that particular type of wood. This wood that my nanny's given me, though, is from a rata. And so yeah, I'm going to play this one for you so you can hear the different sound. Each different koauau, they're all like us, they're very unique. and each one brings a different ahua, it brings a different essence, and we're able to utilize those different parts of the woods and the materials to bring in different healing for ourselves. And of course, when we're sitting in these spaces and we're playing, we're simultaneously we're offering a koha back to the whenua, to the ngahere, and it's also healing for these spaces as well. So yeah, here we go. Koauau, breathing in, and then aturangi nui kaha. And you just keep breathing at your own rhythm, your own pace, and take the sound in from this beautiful rata, koauau rata. Koauau, through the ihu, whamapatu anuku through our pito, to the whenua, and then kaha, right through the centre of us, through our pumotomoto, connected to rangiru. Yeah, I'll play again and you try that again. Ka pai. One thing I wanted to share with you, and this pertains to all of our Taonga Puoro, and it's a kōrero that's come from one of my karaua in the Ruhine, the Awarua, Te Reo Puanga Rohe, and it's my karaua ngā pe Paratūai. This is kōrero that's been passed on from his kuia and karaua. He grew up with my great-grandfather, Tupuakihi, and so was lucky to be able to capture a lot of the kōrero and has shared a lot of kōrero with me from our tūpuna around our Taonga Puoro. And one of the ones that really sticks out to me, and it's the wene or the puawari and the finger holes in the koauau, and you get differing numbers, mostly there's 3 of them, then sometimes you might get 4 or 5, but I sort of stick to the 3. I don't go above that, and that's not to say that the other ones are wrong, it's just the way that's what resonates with me, relating to the kōrero from our karaua ngā hape Paratūai, and also a kōrero of our tūpuna that's been passed through and passed to me through that line. So and that is when you look at a manu, you'll see them sitting on the branch, and they'll have their 3 toes, I guess, on their feet there. They'll be wrapped around the front of the branch, and then they'll have another one at the back, almost like a thumb. And that's ngā waiwai ta manu, and it gives us guidance in the way that we hold our koauau, and why there's those 3 wene there, and And when you watch the manu, any manu on the branch, they move their toes and their feet very carefully and very subtly. And again, it's a tohu for us, a way for us to be able to play our koauau. And so yeah, every time I go to Haumanu Collective there, I'm very mindful of that kōrero ngā waiwai of the manu, the three, eh? And there's a lot of kōrero around the wene once the Maui mua, Maui roto, Maui waho, the different characteristics of Maui, the different brothers of Maui, so yeah, it's not like sort of picking up an instrument like a, maybe a sort of brass flute, and you sort of just pick it up there and you're following your notation and you know exactly which fingers to take off. And then this one's more aligned again with the pūtaiao. So just wanted to share that kōrero that's been passed down from me through our Kauanga Hape Para Tūai. So I'm going to play again, and for this last part, and going back to the kōrero of Maui and Irawaru and Hanauri, Koauau, one kōrero from that is the au of te kuri te pō, the barking of the dog, the au. And growing up on the farm, and that, I was always accustomed to the au of te kuri, so the koauau is often referred to as the au of te kuri, and of course because we make our koauau from a kuri, all we can. So, and we just had a little visit from a tieke, so I'm going to play for the tieke. Maybe you might join in and sing too. Tēnā koe, e tarangatira. We'll see what he thinks about our waiata, ko whakatangi ko wauau. If you've ever got to see a tieke feeding, they're quite amazing. I happened to see a tieke digging through these logs and pulling out a huhu, and I'm going back to the kōrero of the three, the waiwai of the manu, the three finger holes, and how we might, look at our pūtaiao to give us the matauranga around how we play our puoro and our approach. They're very, this tieke was very tōna kaha ki te chiki te kai. He was really precise with his claws, and how he was sort of like piercing into the huhu, and then standing on one foot and kind of bringing that kai up to its mouth was quite a beautiful thing to see. And perhaps that lends to a more aggressive way to, with our mahi a te ringa, how we're using the fingers to get the different sounds. And so I'll try and demonstrate that to you. Rata koe tēnā ara pūron. So that's some of the kōrero I'd like to share with you today from some pūrākau and some thoughts around our koauau and how we might use them for a rongoa, rongoa for our a rongoa for our ngahere nei, and a rongoa for me today. And again, I encourage all our whānau to sit in a space, in a ngahere, and whakatangi tō koauau. And it's a very great thing to do. So from te tuakana nei, te rangatira nei a te tieke, a Wanganui, and te hihi hoki, me rātu ngā manu. There was a tautau wai here before having a kai when I first sat down. From all of us here, ka nui taro ha kia koutou. Puoro atu, puoro mai.